What's your dream? Maybe it's to be a footballer, or an astronaut, or even a business owner.
We are calling it iPhone.
Whatever your dream may be, you'll almost certainly know the feeling of desire. Whether you're actively working towards a goal or it's just something you'd like to do in the future, you'll always have that longing and that passion towards whatever it is. For me, this dream was esports.
All my days. Yes!
What's your rank? On Monday then.
What? Oh, Jump's coming up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the bike!
What are they doing? Oh my god.
Got me.
What is that?
Whether it was trying to compete or be a content creator, I've always wanted to be in esports in some form or another. Then one day, I had the idea for something that the industry had never seen before. The Olympics, later to be renamed the Esports World Cup, was my idea for a premier international esports competition. It would be the first tournament of its kind to combine elite esports competition with the national pride of the FIFA World Cup or the Olympic Games.
Usain Bolt storming through, he takes it again.
When I started working on this project, I was still a kid, only 17 years old, so it wasn't like I could just go out and do all the legal formalities of actually starting a business. Either way, I started making videos. I'd come home from school every day and created TikTok, talking about the project or documenting the progress I'd been making in some way or another. Eventually, I ended up coming to a crossroads. To progress with the company, I needed money, but I didn't have any money. So I could pursue the EWC full-time and hope to get some funding, or I could focus on school, which at this point I was taking my final exams and applying to the world's #1 ranked university. I'm not very good at making decisions, so naturally this was a tough choice to make, but after lots of deliberating, I realized that getting a good degree from a highly respected uni was probably the best choice I could make. After all, I could just continue with the Esports World Cup after university, so I put this dream on the back burner. A few months into developing the EWC, I was sent an offer to buy the domain. Obviously, I was still very much involved in the project and didn't want to sell, so I rejected the offer, but not before asking for some additional information. As the buyer declined my request for information, their offers continued to grow. Don't get me wrong, some of the money was very tempting, but at the end of the day, I was still firm on a no. After all, I was still hoping to build the Esports World Cup when I got back from uni, and if someone else was trying to do the same, I'd like to know about it. Unfortunately, the guy I was speaking to did not want to give away any information without me signing a very restrictive NDA, so even as the offers kept climbing, I was still set on saying no. Eventually, I put 2 and 2 together to realize that this was a Gamers 8 rebrand coming out of Saudi Arabia. It was only days after their final offer of $200,000 that they announced their Esports World Cup. At this point, I was more shocked than anything. I've just turned down $200,000 from Saudi Arabia, and they've just gone and launched an esports tournament with one of the largest prize pools in history. However, I wasn't too worried. In football terms, what they'd created was more like the Champions League, whereas we were still aiming for the World Cup. I didn't hear about the EWC for a long time until it was actually happening this summer. Initially, I thought I wasn't going to be a fan, but in all fairness, it did look kind of cool, but that's not the part we're here to talk about. Anyways, I was at work one day procrastinating on LinkedIn as always, when I came across this post. Always in the back of my mind, I had a sense of hope that once I'd finish uni, then I can finally go about chasing my dream, but now that's just not the case. I've always dreamed about building an esports tournament like the Olympics, but I guess I was beaten to it. The annoying thing is, if it wasn't being hosted in a country with such a poor human rights and environmental record, I'd definitely be a fan. After all, I'm a massive fan of both esports and traditional sports, especially on the national stage. Grievances aside, my dream's officially over. But life moves on. At times it's been tough to accept that my biggest dream is now being realized by one of the few countries in the world to collaborate with the Olympic Committee without actually agreeing and living by the Olympic values. So I guess that's it. That's the story of the time I gave up $200,000 and my lifelong dream.